The following program portrays explicit contact with the unsavory. If you suffer from sitting on a high horse, this show might not be right for you. Check with your local air traffic controller.
Speaking the truth when others hold their tongues. Wrestling for justice with left-wingers and crocodiles. Resisting the temptation to keep the peace at any price. The only talk show host who writes his own theme music, Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, putting the fun in dysfunctional. We have an incredible program for you today. Not one, not two, but 3 interviews with congressmen on Capitol Hill over the budget and Planned Parenthood. And a pro-life congressman rising to the occasion to say that he will fight to defund it in the long-term spending resolution. And fissures in the Tea Party. Now a public brawl over what to do and say concerning John Boehner. Today's program brought to you in part by Hugo Chavez, offering a helping hand, one dictator to another, and by John Boehner, watching his house of cards collapse in slow motion. Don't go away. We have a quick word from my friend, Joey the Hammer.
Well, as Bobby Dylan once said, we've got gangsters in power and lawbreakers making the rules. This Attorney General, Eric Holder Maron, he sits idly by while these people from, Common Cause, Destaduras, they threaten to kill Clarence Thomas, a sitting Supreme Court judge, and his wife. Listen, even in the business, we never threaten another man's wife. And so, if the Attorney General is going to sit idly by while death threats are made on a sitting Supreme Court judge, Mr. Holder, I have a request. Could you please provide me and some of my friends on the outside with a short list of people who are in government that we can threaten to kill? Such a list would be very helpful in our line of business.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Yesterday, we had the privilege of 3 exclusive interviews with congressmen concerning defunding Planned Parenthood and the upcoming fight over the continuing resolution that will take us for the next 6 months. We interviewed Louis Gohmert, John Carter, and Duncan Hunter. Here they are. I hope that they shed some light on exactly what is happening on Capitol Hill right now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for voting against the continuing resolution. Would you be willing to join a group of other congressmen to say no to the 6-month CR if that includes money for Planned Parenthood or for Obamacare?
Yeah, well, we have found out just in the last few days that even if a CR says no to Obamacare and any spending henceforth, what we have found, and I read all 3 of the bills that looked like they were going to come up, the Obamacare bills, including the last 2,900 pages. But as I went through them, I was skipping over the numbers, getting to the meat of what do they do, what does this provision do, and you have to flip back to other sections. But it turns out there has been $105 billion already, not just authorized, but actually appropriated within the Obamacare bill itself. I don't know of that happening before, but these people were so smart, they were so devious, really, about the way they did things, like hiding provisions that affect abortion by referring to the section in which abortion is mentioned rather than saying abortion. So if you do a word search, you don't find all the sections where abortion is paid for. And so obviously this was another one of the things. There are $5 billion that is appropriated for this year. So not only should we have a provision that defunds Obamacare for the future, we have actually got to have a rescission of all of the provisions in the Obamacare bill that appropriates money. People wanted to see at least $100 billion in cuts. There's $105 billion already appropriated. It wasn't authorized. They just did the
How about
to the appropriation, and so I want to see that in a CR.
good? How about defunding Planned Parenthood?
We fought hard for that. People shouldn't have to take their own tax dollars and pay for abortion when they believe with all their heart that it is murder, and I am one of those. And so
am I.
Absolutely, we fought hard for those, and that was one of the reasons I voted against the CR, is because I know our leadership and they're good people and they mean well. But they're saying, hey, well, we got the $4 billion in cuts that the president.
Yeah, but what about the
already
babies?
agreed to. But the problem is, once you take things off the table that you've already fought for, it is really hard to get them back on the table. Now, because we've raised this in conference, we're assured we're going to get them back on the table
For the long CR.
for the longer CR.
Would you join a group of Republicans if they said, look, Mr. Speaker, we're Republicans, but we're going to spend our political capital on the babies?
That made people mad at me and my party.
Let's find 30 more.
And that's what we're working on.
Yeah, we got to go
actually.
Pence, Franks,
That's what we're
Bachman.
working on. I think we're well on our way.
Thank
there.
you for your time.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You're asking the Attorney General to obviously open an investigation into Common Cause, enforce the laws concerning tax-exempt status. Last week, Mr. Obama said that he would not require Attorney General Holder to enforce the laws concerning DOMA, even though President Obama swore an oath to uphold the laws of the United States of America. Do you think that this is a problem, and if so, what can be done?
I think it's a problem, and the appropriate legal procedures are in the process of being launched right now, and the decision has not been officially made by our leadership. It's exactly where we're going, but we will be challenging the fact that you raise your right hand and you take an oath to support the laws of the United States, and by golly, you ought to do it.
Do you think that it rises to the level of an impeachable offense?
I really don't want to comment on that because, quite honestly, I haven't heard any comment about impeachment from any source. There are proper procedures that can be followed by the Congress, and I believe one of those, or maybe both of those procedures, will be followed.
One last question on the CR, the long one that's coming up. Do you hold out any hope that a group of Republicans would say to the leadership, if you restore funding to Planned Parenthood, we will not go along with the CR?
There's a lot of things that might cause some of our members to not go along with the CR.
Planned Parenthood's an important one.
Planned Parenthood is certainly one of them.
Well, do you think that there could be a cadre, 30, 35 members?
Yeah, surely there could be.
Would you be among them?
Out of this clear blue sky here, too. You're asking me to speculate on facts that are not in evidence.
Well said, Your Honor. Would you be among those if there was a cadre of men and women who said, "Look, we're going to put babies' lives front and center for once. We're not going."
I am firmly in favor of what we did in the CR as it involves those folks.
So, is it a hill that you would spend political capital on?
Probably would.
All right, good. We'll put you down. Thank you, Congressman.
The $4 billion every 2 weeks adds up to the $61 billion.
Right, but it surrenders the money to Planned Parenthood. That's the issue.
No, because we can still add cuts as we go. So the Planned Parenthood cuts will be in one of those 2 week segments. I would hope.
I would hope,
and that's what we're going to work on.
And then see what the Democrats in the Senate do.
Sure, yeah, and that's where this resides. Yeah.
What's your name, sir?
Duncan Hunter from San Diego.
Oh, my goodness. There are many people in the pro-life movement who, by the way, tell your dad long life to him, please.
Oh, I will do it.
There are many people in the pro-life movement that feel like the pro-life movement has been used as a mistress. In other words, come on, give us your vote. We're pro-life. But then when push comes to shove, they don't want to expend political capital for the babies. Is that going to happen again with the Planned Parenthood funding?
No, I don't think so. And frankly, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that happen where it's just used to get votes, no.
Well, the GOP controlled the presidency in both houses for 6 years.
And this didn't happen then, true.
And they didn't defund it then. So.
True. And I don't know why. I wasn't in, but that's true. But I think some folks tried. I had the Life at Conception bill that my dad had, which says, once you're conceived, then that's it. Then you're protected under the U.S. Constitution. So,
good.
So we are working it.
Well, that's something we're behind. Long life to you. God bless you.
Hey, thank you very much. Very nice to meet you.
Pleasure mine. Randall Terry.
Okay, Randall.
I'll see you.
I thank all three of the congressmen for taking the time to be in an interview with me. When we come back from this break,
A pro-life congressman, another one on Capitol Hill, has risen to the occasion, we think, and has told Mr. Boehner and the Republican leadership, no money for Planned Parenthood or no vote from us. Don't go away.
I remember when Randall and I listened to Teddy Roosevelt's whistle stop campaign on the Bull Moose ticket. He didn't buy his arguments then, and he hasn't changed a bit since.
Moments with Moses. If you walk contrary to me, and will not hearken to me, I will bring more plagues upon you, sevenfold as many as your sins.
Welcome back to the program, friend. By the way, I want to encourage you, if you are not on our email list, get on. It's free, and there's a lot of things that we discuss online that you don't get on the television stations that carry us or even online. So go to randallterry.com and sign up for our email list. Now to a big breaking story. Yesterday, in an interview with The Takeaway, Congressman Chris Smith from New Jersey, a well-known pro-life leader in the House of Representatives, said that he will fight tooth and nail to ensure that no funding for child killing goes into Obamacare and that Planned Parenthood will be defunded. Oh, are you serious? Finally, some pro-life Republicans are growing a backbone. Yes, this is big, big, happy news. Let me quote to you exactly what he said. He said, quote, I'm going to push so hard to make sure that all those cuts are in there. He said, you can't back off. From a human rights perspective, if you do so, you facilitate the demise of hundreds of thousands of children. End of quote. Congressman Smith, I tip my hat to you, and we will pray for you, and we will work to ask congressmen like the ones we just saw in the interviews, Congressman Gomer and Carter and Hunter and Pence and Franks and Bachmann and the rest of the pro-life congressmen who paraded on the platform at the March for Life just over a month ago. We will call out to them publicly and apply polite yet public pressure so that they say no. Friends, this is, to quote the story, political defection. It says to the leadership of Boehner and the Republican leadership in the House that human life and the morality of our children is more important than looking good and passing a budget or a continuing resolution that Obama and Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi approve of. In this exact moment in time, ethics play a more important role than politics. Say it again. Ethics play a more important role than politics. If money to Planned Parenthood is restored, it will be because John Boehner and the House leadership caved in. And it would also mean that so-called pro-life members of the House put politics ahead of the lives of innocent babies. One other thing I want to tell you in this segment, and that is this. We need to start calling Planned Parenthood a criminal syndicate. Say those words, criminal syndicate. Planned Parenthood is involved, and I mean that literally, a criminal syndicate. They're involved in a criminal conspiracy to cover up crimes. Listen to me. If somebody you know, a friend, a family member, commits a murder or a rape or a robbery, and you didn't know about it ahead of time, you had no foreknowledge, you were not a part of it, but then you find out about it after the fact, and you help cover up the crime, you legally, criminally, become an accessory after the fact. You become an accessory to that crime, and you can go on trial and be punished in a court of law for your deeds. Well, Planned Parenthood, as a health facility, please God forgive me for even using those words with them, they are required by law to report to the authorities when a minor is the victim of a sexual crime All of our states have laws against statutory rape, against pedophilia, against other crimes, sexual crimes against minors. And every single time that a pregnant minor girl comes into a Planned Parenthood office, hear me, she is a living, breathing crime scene. The very fact that she is pregnant is prima facie evidence that a sexual crime has been committed against her. And Planned Parenthood is required by law to report that to the police authorities. At that moment, when they choose to cover it up, they become accessories after the fact. And so I submit to you that Planned Parenthood is a criminal conspiracy. It is a criminal syndicate. It is a criminal enterprise. And we need to start saying that over and over again. And if pro-life Republicans fund them, then they are participating in this cover-up and this criminal conspiracy. And we need to throw the ball into the Democrat court. Yeah, let's have Obama and Pelosi and Reid defend these debauched baby killers who are protecting pedophiles and child prostitution and statutory rape. Let's frame this debate and we can win it. When we come back from this break, some cracks are happening in the Tea Party. It's a public debate that needs to happen. I'll bring you up to speed as soon as we come back. Well, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, there are people in this world that are committed to taking away your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Geronimo, what do you think about people who try to take away your guns?
I think they can have them. Bullets first.
If we are together, nothing is impossible. If we are divided, all will fail. Sir Winston Churchill. Welcome back to the program, friend. Let's go to some big news about the Tea Party. Right now, it is official. The Tea Party has cracked. Crack? You mean the drug? They're mixing crack in with that tea? No, cracked. It has cracked. There's a fissure. There's division. Let's talk about it. The head of Tea Party Nation, Judson Phillips, wrote a scathing rebuke to House Speaker John Boehner. And in my opinion, it was well placed. It was well timed. He said that Mr. Boehner looked like a fool. He said that Charlie Sheen was making more sense than Mr. Boehner. He said, and I quote, "It's time to run a primary against John Boehner." Well, anyone who has been following this program knows that we have been saying that for months, saying, Mr. Boehner, if you do not defund Planned Parenthood, then we will run a primary against you. We're happy that some of our other compatriots in the Tea Party movement are making the same observation. However, there are other people in the Tea Party who are singing his praises still, but it's starting to look like a jilted girlfriend. A letter was sent on March the 1st from a group of Tea Party activists in District 8 in Ohio, in which they said, and I quote, "The constituents of District 8 are proud to have you as our Congressman and Speaker of the House. We wish you success." Then they go on to say, hey, we're really concerned about the mounting debt. And then they say, and I quote, "We request your assurances that you will fulfill your promises in the Pledge to America and not push off the tough fiscal challenges that face us." This is like a girlfriend saying, please lie to me one more time. Just please tell me a sweet little lie in my ear. And they said, we are anticipating finding a solution to this long-term debt crisis. So, Judson Phillips saying Boehner has failed, he has lied, he looks like a fool, and he's got to go. And then other people saying, we just want some assurances. You're our man. We're proud of you. We look forward to your leadership. Friends, we are going to have this fight, and it's going to be brutal. And it will require sticking to principle first. Not party, principle. We will discuss this more next week and in the coming weeks. I've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, a wonderful quote from George Washington. Don't go away. If the Lord had not been my help, my soul would soon have dwelt in the land of silence. When I thought, my foot slips, thy steadfast love, O Lord, held me up. George Washington said, 99% of failures come from people who make excuses. Friend, we are in a very precarious point right now. And first of all, are we going to make excuses for ourselves? Second of all, are we going to make excuses for our pro-life leaders in Congress, for our Tea Party leaders in Congress? Are we going to excuse them when they do not rise to the occasion and defund Obamacare and defund Planned Parenthood? If so, the failure that will come about is our responsibility. It's time to stand for the truth, not make excuses for failure. God bless you.